Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly scenario in Noctie, and the position that we're dealing with today is this one. And when you see this position, the first thing that strikes me is that the queen is on the same diagonal as the king. This means that if you could take the pawn like this, the pawn cannot take back from f7 to e6. Because then, again, we have this diagonal down to the king like this. But there is one big problem, and that is that the queen here can take the queen on h5. This means that this would be a big mistake. But we have the idea. So the question is how to make this happen. And white has got a really good move, and that is to play e5. Because what is happening now is that you are closing this rank from a5 to h5. And now, in the next move, white will be able to take on e6. For example, f take e5, f take e6. And again, it is not possible to take back with a pawn due to this diagonal where the queen and the black king is on the same diagonal. So, for example, if king d8 like this, white can continue with rook take e5. And now we have another great thing, and that is that you can see that we have on this line, we have the rook and the black king. And this means that the black queen cannot take on e5, because after queen take e5, the pawn cannot take back due to this open file, this line from d1 to d8. So, okay, so for example, after rook take e5, then queen c7, okay, and now simply take on f7, and now you can see still the pawn cannot take the rook, and the rook is ready to go down here. And white has a crushing position that could end in like this. Bishop e7, knight c5, queen c6, queen h6 like this. You see that what white is doing is just to keep up the pressure of black. Rook f8, take on e7, king take e7, and actually we have a checkmate on h4 like this. So the basic idea of this position is how to make a breakthrough with white to attack the black king, and you can see that a little bit of a tactical trick would do it. So, okay, now maybe you want to see me playing against Noctie, and let's do that. So this is the position, and I start with e5. You know, now again we have the idea of making use of this diagonal, and this is what I do now. I take on e6, and now Noctie cannot take on e6 with a pawn, so he took with the bishop. Now I can take back like this with my bishop on e6. What happened now was that my knight on a4 was unprotected. But I have a really good move here, and that is to go for this weakness on f7. So I play rook f1, and you can see now I put pressure on f7. King goes here, and now I have another interesting move. I can actually take on e5 with my queen, threatening the rook. The pawn cannot take, because then the king will be threatened. I take on h8, and you can see now that the pawn on f8, the bishop on f8 is actually threatened. And now rook takes on f8. And, you know, the idea of this weekly scenario was that white should try to be 5 points in advance compared to the opponent. And this is what I actually have now. I can even take on h7, and I am 6 points up compared to others. So I think after this, I swap, I give a check here like this, the king will move, and now I take the rook, and now I'm actually 11 points ahead. I think we stop our stuff here. So this is what this weekly scenario was about. Bye.